In April of 2007, Newsweek magazine called him the most powerful actor on the planet. He's been nominated for 4 Golden Globe Awards, 2 Academy Awards, and multiple Grammys. 14 of his 19 films he's acted in have accumulated a box office total of over $100 million, and 4 of them $500 million globally. Straight from the ghettos of Philadelphia, rapper rags to movie riches. This is the E-Hollywood story of Will Smith. Hello, I'm David Jacobs, and welcome to the E-Hollywood story, the story of Will Smith. Willard Christopher Smith Jr. was born September the 25th, 1968. He is an American actor, film producer, and rapper. Smith was born and raised in West Philadelphia, as so prominently mentioned in many of his raps. He also spent time in Germantown in northwest Philadelphia. His mother, Caroline, was a school administrator who worked for the Philadelphia School Board. His father, Willard Christopher Smith Sr., was a refrigeration engineer. They were raised Baptists. His parents separated when Will was 13, and they divorced when he was 32. In the mid-1980s, Will Smith, nicknamed the Fresh Prince, formed a group, along with his 2 best friends, Jazzy Towns and Clarence Holmes. Jazzy Jeff would be the turntablist, Clarence Holmes the human beatbox. Smith would serve as the MC of the group. The trio was known for performing humorous radio-friendly songs, most notably Summertime and Parents Just Don't Understand. They gained critical acclaim for winning the first ever Grammy in the rap category in 1988. After the Grammy, the money came fast. Smith spent money freely during his early career and underpaid in his income taxes. The Internal Revenue Service eventually assessed a $2.8 million debt against Smith. They took many of his possessions and garnished his income. Smith nearly went bankrupt. What would the Fresh Prince do to dig himself out of financial ruin? Coming up next on the E-Hollywood story. Welcome back to the E-Hollywood story, the story of Will Smith. I'm David Jacobs. In the late 1980s, Will Smith had reached the apex of his rap career as he won the first ever Grammy in the rap category. It was then he went on a reckless spending spree, where he obliterated much of his wealth. It was then when the Internal Revenue Service assessed a $2.8 million debt against him and garnished most of his income. Smith nearly went bankrupt. It was then when NBC executives approached Smith about building a sitcom around his own life, ironically called The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. The idea came from Smith's rap, Parents Just Don't Understand, the rap he just won a Grammy for.
Now this is a story all about how my life got flipped, turned upside down, and I'd like to take a minute, just sit right there. I'll tell you how I became the prince of a town called Bel-Air.
The song would be rewritten by Will Smith and composed by Quincy Jones and used as the theme song for The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. The show aired September 10th, 1990 to May 20th, 1996. Will Smith starred as a street-smart teenager from West Philadelphia who was sent to live with his wealthy relatives in a Bel-Air mansion. His lifestyle often clashed with that of his relatives who lived there. 148 episodes were produced in over 6 seasons. The show was an overwhelming success and won several Emmys and Golden Globe Awards. Now that Will Smith had established himself as a serious actor and The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air had ended, he was now in a position to do what he always wanted: take a shot at the silver screen. When the E-Hollywood story returns, Mr. Smith goes to Hollywood. Welcome back to the E! Hollywood Story, the story of Will Smith. I'm David Jacobs. Now that the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air had ended, Will Smith was in a position to do what he always wanted to do, act on the big screen. He made his film debut in Where the Day Takes You, a gritty tale of LA's homeless subculture. His next role was an unabashed proof that a major new talent had arrived. In an adaptation of the Broadway hit 6 Degrees of Separation, Will played a gay street hustler who convinces his family that he's the son of Sidney Poitier. Reviews of Smith's performance was stellar, but more screen action lie ahead. For Bad Boys, a testosterone-fueled movie filmed in the back streets of Miami, he buddied up with comedian Martin Lawrence.
Oopsie daisy, it's the Negress. What are you, a cop or a model? Hey, don't hate the player, hate the game. I hate to tell her.
Bad Boys convinced audiences that Smith could throw a punch as well as a punchline. But nothing could prepare moviegoers for what was to come on July the 4th, 1996, when Independence Day was released. The box office champion of 1996 and one of the highest grossing films in Hollywood history. 1 year later, in the summer of 1997, Men in Black would again give Smith the highest grossing film of the year. And the best-selling Men in Black soundtrack put Will Smith back on the map as a recording artist. Will Smith divorces and remarries, coming up next on the E! Hollywood Story.